at it with the dagger, the LAS-7 Dagger from Helldivers 2. So, I don't think I actually painted everything. I just switched from the usual gray mode here to color. So we will pick up right where we left off. And the first thing I think we're gonna do is seal these bits off, 'cause they are bugging me. So to do that, let's, hmm, hmm, let's subdivide this edge here, and then we can, oop, let's actually use the other side, that might be easier. And we will shift V to move these guys up here-ish. And we're going to zoom in nice and close to try to get this as accurate as we can. It's about there. And then we'll put these two together. And then these two together. And then we'll get rid of this edge here on both sides. I'll get rid of that face, but it leaves us with this. So let's go ahead and fill that face in on both sides. Deselecting those after the face. And now we have this more straight away. So we're going to subdivide. It's this one, right? Subdivide, and then okay, let's just hide this because it likes to get in the way. And it looks like we've already lined that up, so I'm going to hit GZ, snap that with snap on, put that down there. And now I think we can close this up, which should give us a face over here we can put in, like so. And then with these, close that up. I think that's how that is supposed to look. Close that up. Get these edges. Oop. Get these edges. Close that up. Right, there's nothing over there, right? Let's take a look, see. Yeah, it seems pretty smooth. And then we have an underside, and on an underside we got this little tabby bit there. So we can stick that in there. So I just take, let's get these edges and fill that. What's problem? Not sure why that wasn't filling in, but it did eventually. So let's go over here and do the same thing. And then we have the tabby bit. I need to look at that again. So I already forgot what we were going for. Alright, so it sticks. It's not all the way back there. It's a little ahead. Little rectangle. Well, maybe a rounded rectangle. So we can stick that in there. Let's go over here. And we'll subdivide twice this edge. And then we'll bring this one with Control V down. I think it would actually be around here, because this will keep going into there, right? I think so. So let's just put that there. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these two because we're going to end up doing that anyway. So get rid of those two faces. Then let's subdivide this line as well. And then with median as our pivot point, we'll scale it in just a wee bit. And was this connected to that center, or was it off a little bit? It looks like it might be off just a tiny bit, so it's not connected. So let's go ahead and extrude these two. Hit E to extrude, and then GZ to get it up here, and then GY to scoot it over there. And then we can seal up these faces. And then to create that separation, we'll just get these two edges, subdivide, and then with median as our pivot point, still scale inward. And to compensate for that little point, let's scale this one outward just a little bit. And then with these two selected, we can hit E and extrude. It looks like I snapped a little bit, but that's exactly where we wanted to go, so that's fine. I think it's a bit smaller, so I'm gonna check on, I don't remember which one of these did what. Let's see, GY, no, that's not the way. Let's try this one, there we go. That's what we were looking for. Shrink that down, and I think it's kind of rounded. So I'm gonna do that by selecting all these edges. This one too. And we already got those. Let's try to get this inner one here. There we go. And there. And it looks a little off. Like the lines aren't super even. GZ, wait, go back to global. GZ, GZ. GZ, GY. What is this? Oh, that's back there. GZ, GY, GZ. That one looking okay. Let's go into X-ray mode. I think that one is all right. Check this face. No, it's not completely yet. Let's get this one. GZ, GY. GZ, GY. Check these back here then. That's unfortunate. These also look off. I'm not sure why that happened. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this completely. And then I'm gonna manually extrude this GX. Guess that edge we used was a little off, but that's all right. 2.21, just to make it symmetrical. Let's get rid of this. And we'll try to line this up with the other one. GZ, GY. Let's make sure we got the one over here. GZ, GY. What is that point? So over here, this should be the guiding point that we're using for this point here. GZ, GY, GZ, GY. Let's try that again. They should all be lining up. Y, Z, G, Y. These aren't lined up. GZ, GY. Think that's finally got it. Alright. Anyway, extruding here to 2.21. Just so we can keep things symmetrical. And then I'm going to collect these edges. I think those are those and those. And then we're going to bevel a little bit to just kind of round this guy out. That's our tab. And then I think we'll go from here to here. And then fill in this whole face. Oh, these aren't connected. Let's merge those. Is this one also? Yeah. Merge that. Auto merge is up here, and it is currently on. And we're gonna need that back-faced vertice. This one here. Connect it there. We'll click on all of these. C for circle select. Then I'm manually holding shift and left clicking to add more to our selection. Circle select. And face. And then we'll do the same thing over here. Let's actually get that one. This one. Got those. These, F. That should have a nice face on that. So that's our little tabs. That took a weirdly long time to do. Alright, okay. Now they do go inward a bit. Maybe to about there that goes in, just to give us a guide. There's that. So I'm going to Shift D to duplicate that vertex, and then I'm going to bring it all the way down here. And I'm going to subdivide this guy, snap it over here. Put a face there. Go inside here. Back at it. No, this is fine. This part kind of protrudes out. So this edge, do we already have an edge based on this? Is it one of those? Let's check. I forget where exactly it was. GY, that's definitely not it. Let's check if this one does it. GYC, yeah, okay. So we already have one of those. Good. So then we can take this, and I guess we can collect these two. And then I'll extrude, and then right click, G, Y, and we can't snap it there, unfortunately. Let's turn off snap. And we need to figure out where this is. So I'm going to hit E, extrude on that, G, Z twice to get the global orientation, and now I'm going to try to line this up with, with this line. That's about as close as I think we're going to get. Don't need that anymore. So now we have that insidey bit. Does it go too far? Feels like it might. Maybe we'll, you know what, we'll subdivide here just to take it down to half of that, so we still get some inside bit. Let's get rid of that. I think we can pull this. Let's get back to global here. G, Y, turn snap back on. G, Y, snap that back here, and I think we can start making this face. There. And does this go all the way back? It looks like it. It looks very plain. Doesn't look like there's any more tabby bits in there. So let's get back on that. Okay, so this can come over here, G, Z, and then let's go ahead and fill in this face. Oops. These edges, just like that. And that looks like it wants to go over a bit. So let's subdivide here, and then again here. I'm going to take this up here. Take these two and GX, snap them over here. We'll take this guy up just like that. And these two should be aligned, right? Yeah, perfectly. Good, good. And let's fill in this face. And then this face. And then this face and this face. I think that's got it all sealed up. This one's a different color. Let's hit A to select all, and then Shift N to recalculate normals. That's still... Oh, that's because there's no face here. I gotcha. I gotcha. Alright, so let's fill in these faces. So yeah, that cleaned that up nicely. Alright, so now we gotta do all that over here. Okay, so I guess the first thing is to collect these 3 or so. Well, just this area in general. Let's get all these. And then these will go here, so we'll extrude, and then G, Z, G, Y, snap those back there. Should be just on the same exact plane as that one. That's looking good. Okie doke. And now we have this. Does that go straight down? And I think this bit actually just goes straight down. Let's get rid of that. And then we'll subdivide over here. Bring that over here with GX. And fill that in. And this can go back. CE, GY. Snap it there. And then we can fill this in. And we can fill this in. Right. That looks slanted to me for a moment, but optical illusion perhaps. Hey, it's this one that was kind of slanty, yeah. What do we do over here again? Let's just grab this guy. Shift D to duplicate, and then GX to bring him over here. And I got auto merge on, so it already did that. And then I'm pretty sure we went back here, GY, fill in that, fill in that. That looks a lot straighter. These two are a bit off, which is how that's supposed to look. Whoops. So I'll fill this in, and this in, and everything's on the same plane, it looks like. I think that about does it for that part. We can start filling in these faces like we did on the other side. And I think that's mostly outside. Now we got to think about the actual cell that goes in and out of here. So the first thing I was thinking is it needs some guiding rails. Maybe. So I figure that's what these are for. It'd have like a slit in here that the cooling cell would kind of slide on. Because otherwise, why would it have those at all? Do we need them though? Because unlike in the game, they're not going to be spring-loaded and fly out, because that might be dangerous. I'm just going to have them connected with magnets, so you just pull them apart. So to get that going... that is an opening. And this is going to need some kind of back, so we can't have it just floating here. So let's subdivide that. And take out this rear panel. I don't want to make a face out of all these. I got these, and these. This one. I'll make sure we didn't click on anything we don't want. I think that's good. And we'll make a face out of that. And then the cell will have to slide in there. So let's see, which of these edges was this one again? GY, not that one. There we go. Alright, so with that selected, we can continue this sort of shape down into there. Don't think we need that. we'll get these two. And let's go down here with extrude, then G, Y, and we'll go down here. Now we need this to be flat. I wonder if this will work. So S, Y, 0. Yep, alright. Got them on this flat plane here. And wonder if that's aligned properly. Thinking, do we want to bevel that like this? But actually, I want the teeth from the cell to kind of sit on top of these so they look like they're kind of connected. So let's seal this up. Oops. Faces. And I don't think we need that, but we'll leave it. There's no real point in getting rid of it. So that's that. That's all sealed up. There, so it'll be able to slide into here. And now we have to think about the cell itself. So we'll give it this rounded shape like this. This, and then I'm going to Shift D to duplicate, and then we'll go to median point, and then we'll shrink this down. Doesn't feel like it's the medium point, but whatever. You know what? We'll do 3D cursor mode just for now, because I want to set something up here. Because it needs to be 0.5 millimeters smaller in order to fit properly. So let's get rid of that, and I just created an edge here so we can use it as a measuring device. And 0.5, it's not going to be precise because it's at a diagonal, but let's getting that to be just smaller. Seems like it'll be a bit of a task. Let's turn off snap. Going in kind of a weird direction. Let's see if this other edge will do us better. Jeez. So yeah, I think that's the direction we need to be going. Right. See, the line is still aligned, and looks like this decided to merge, unfortunately. GY, using that edge, and we'll get rid of this. And we'll replace that because that got stuck. And we'll put that face back. So now, let's make some measuring tools here. Subdivide. Connect those two. And it's just started raining pretty heavily if you're picking that up. But it's a good time to be working inside then. See, so we have those measuring tools. We need it to be a minimum of 0.5. So with scale, our GY, I'm going to move this back along that edge that we created before. I think it should actually be a little bigger than 0.5 because that would be a really snug fit, and we want this to move freely in and out, right? Because the magnets will hold it in place. And I think it needs to shrink down a bit. This is GY. Straighten that out some. Gotta deselect our measuring bits. Then shrink it down, say 6.5 or 7. Anywhere in there should be fine. Let's see where this is, 6 point something, 8, 7.6, and these should all be exactly the same, or close to. As long as it's over 0.5, it'll fit just fine. I think that'll be our base size for our power cell or cooling cell. Wait, that shouldn't be connected there. Edge, and let's hide this, and then wait, that's already a face, so what is it connected to here for? Just gonna get rid of that, put a new face on there, should be fine. Alright, so this should be, oh, that's Alt H to unhide, and now I'm thinking the teeths. What we want to do to teeths. We could face on that just to give us a look of what we're doing. Maybe we should do the top first. Around it, it has some nubby bits, and I don't know if those are going in or coming out. Looks like they're coming out. Okay, we can do that. What was it? Control 7? Yeah, I think so. Let's switch the normals on this. Control 7. Okay, we can recalculate them inside instead. Or Control Shift N. Calculate normals. I want it to put me on the outside, directly facing this. Oh, Shift 7. Never mind. Okay, Shift 7, and we'll Shift right click to get our cursor over there, and then we're going to create those circles. Say 5 millimeters. And it's not facing the way I'd like it to, but we can just adjust. See if that's actually on that. Plane up. Switch a bit. I think that's got it. Let's go back to edge. GY, that's the wrong one. Regular edge. GY. Bring that up because we're going to end up knife projecting. And let's look at the sizes and such again. I think this one's a little smaller than that one, but that one does take up a significant amount of room. Shift 7, oh. Shift 7. And then we will Shift D, and then shrink that down because it has that yellow bit. And then we'll take all this and Shift D to duplicate. And the other one was somewhere over here. It's Control 1 to reorient our camera to something I'm more comfortable with. And there, so it's all the way in this corner. We can do that. Okay, with this face, I'm going to shift 7 again. Get these guys. Shrink. Let's go median point, shrink. Smaller in this corner. Okay. And then there's also those tabs. I'm going to hit SY0 to line those back up, and then GY to get them out of the way a little bit there. And then Control 1 again. Let's see where those little tabs were. So they're off. This one seems centered. This one's a little off. And they do protrude a little bit. And are they squared off or more rounded? I think they're a little more squared off with just the slightest bevel maybe. Alright, so this time we're going to create some planes. Let's go with 3mm this time, and we'll rotate it on the global axis. And let's go back and see if that's aligned. It's a little off. That should be good. Should be fine. GY. Oh, let's GY with snap on. Let's put it over here. And then Shift 7. And now we'll put it over here. Let's turn off snap again. I'll stretch. Hit X twice to get back to the global. And I think that was kind of up here. And then the other one was down here. Okay, Shift 7 down here-ish. Control 1. Let's see exactly where those were. And this one also seems slightly longer and just off center. So, Shift 7. Over here. GX. Stretch that out just a wee bit. And then move the whole thing about there-ish. Okay. Now with all those selected, let's go back to Shift 7. We'll hit P, separate selection, and then we'll do our knife project. And it got right on there. Looking good, looking good. Alright, so all these projected a bit. Well, we'll just use this form, because it's a lot easier to pick on these faces. And then we'll extrude outward, right-clicking, and then GY. Take advantage of our edge that we created. Yeah, they're a little shorter. And then these two seem like they were a bit taller. And then let's extrude downward with GY on these guys. And And then, so individual organs, with these still selected, and then extrude again, right click, scale with X, because I feel like they have little dimples. So we'll E, right click, GY, bring it down. Can get rid of the edge links. I can see a little more clearly. GY to pull it back out. Then I'm going to hit S to scale inward a little bit, and then we're going to bevel. Go into edge mode with 2, and then bevel edges, right click bevel edges. Kind of like that, I think, is what we're looking for here. And then we can even round these just a touch. That one too. And right click, oops, not bridge, bevel. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. There. I think that about does it. Let's go ahead and hide this. And I will separate this as well. P, separate selection, and let's go ahead and call this our cell. Alright, so that's not a bad start to it. Let's check and see what else need be done. Ah, so we have all the ribs. Those protrude outward, or do they go in? Hard to tell. It looks like they might go in, out from the very top, which means we may have to shrink our cell just a bit. But they also look kind of rounded at the bottom rather than being straight. It looks like it might be curved over there. And then there's this indentation here. Or does that come out? I don't think it comes out because this is a straight line. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I think, is we're gonna have to redo this edge here. And let's connect it over here instead. And we'll make a new face. Deselect these guys. These, that one. These, and this one. And this one. And make a face there. Then we can make the new face. Let's get rid of that and get that going. Now we can bevel this some. Get that roundness. But I don't think it extends anywhere near the teeth. So that's still selected. I'm going to hit GY. Snap it back here. See, it went too far with the bevel. EGY, let's see. I think it's still a little too far. Maybe there, GY. Think that'll be a lot more acceptable. But we do have that issue. So we can do one of two things. Wait, do the teeth go inward? Hmm. It's hard to tell. It does look like it goes inward though, so we might not actually have to worry about that. Looks like there's a space separator and then the other part kind of goes in versus this being straight down. So I guess that doesn't matter. X-ray mode. Now I'm thinking we can take the rest of this cell. It's facing and join it down here with E and GY. Oh yeah, snap. GY. See if that's about where we want it. Do believe it is. What is this point? I think that's fine. So I'm going to select all and go up to mesh, clean up, merge by distance. And hopefully none of these got merged, right? Yeah, they seem fine. They seem just fine. Okay, so that's most of our power cell. And how do we want to do the teeths? Does not have a face. It does not have a face, which is actually a good thing right now. So I'm thinking we can face this. And that could be extended downward. And to here. So lose a couple of millimeters. Let's get edge length back on. Length. Okay. We're at 14.5. So we'll go up to 14. That'll leave enough space for that to fit snugly. Now, how do we want to do the teeth? First thing we probably need to do is move this upward a bit. Deselecting that. GY. So we can fit the teeth in there. But I think we'll leave that for next time. I think we've made enough progress. And if you don't want to go through all this modeling, I do have the STL files needed to print all of my 3D printable props available to supporters over on my Patreon. We currently have over 40 props available and are adding more all the time. This prop will also be made available once it's finished. So if you'd like to skip the modeling and gain access to an entire armory of 3D printable props, check out my Patreon, link in the description. It is only $5 a month and you gain access to the entire armory of over 40 props. Staying a member ensures you get access to everything new added to the armory immediately and of course, very much helps support the channel. Speaking of supporting, we have to show our gratitude to M. John Simon, a real hero of the channel, supporting at the hero tier. Become a hero to get yourself special mention in these very videos, and as always, like and subscribe to ensure you never miss out on the next video. Until then, I have been Ken with Kenjutsu Bring It to Life, and I am out.